Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. Guys, we woke up to snow this morning. I was a bit excited, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, it is very rare that I would bring an old project back and actually finish it on camera and do a video about it because I don't want to bore people and I don't want people thinking, Claire, we've seen this, we don't need to see you finish it, but these need to be seen. I made these last Saturday on a video on my channel. If you missed it, I'll link it here. These are the Eco Pour by Just For You Online mixed in with epoxy resin, wet on wet. However, when it came to demold, as much as I love the design, they looked very Romanesque, very romantic, I felt like there was too much Eco Pour. Like I'd poured way too much in, it was kind of dominating. The same as this one, it just took over. Now the inlays were from Roxanne's Molds and More. Love that, love the feature, absolutely stunning. I love the resin element, but the Eco Pour, it was too much. It really needed a little something to cover it up and just, I guess, disguise it. And that is where the gold ink comes in. I did say in my video, if anyone knows of a really nice gold ink, please let me know. And it was Lorraine who messaged me over on Instagram, inboxed me straight away and said, this gold is bright and beautiful, it's amazing, I use it, here's the link. I was like, thank you. So I ordered it straight away, it came next day. I also at the same time, because I'm a danger to myself, I ordered some more stamps. Now in that video I did say I would love some kind of like miniature, very delicate flower and leaf stamps to go over this Eco Pour section just to have a play and see what it looks like. I figured I would order some anyway. These are beautiful. Now I will have these linked below. I do have an Amazon storefront in the UK, Canada and the USA. I am currently working on getting storefronts in other areas, but yeah. At the moment, that is all I have, and I will link it if I find it. Now, some of these weren't really my cup of tea, a little bit basic, a little bit plain, but some were so detailed and beautiful, very peony, very tulip, and those were the ones I kind of decided to go for. My first initial thought was I would lay a few stamps down next to each other and kind of build up this whole area just using stamps before I then place my stamp block down on top. My theory, my head was saying the stamp block would pick up all of the stamps together and basically I'd be able to stamp exactly as I've laid them down. So this was my first thought process. Having not tried this before and not sure what it's going to look like, I was just really playing around at this point, but yeah, this is where my brain was going. However, I scrapped it. You could, of course, do that, but I just felt like they would be very gappy, like there'd be loads of gaps in between each individual stamp, and that might bug me. So I figured I would stamp individually and lay the stamps. It gives me more control, more autonomy on the piece, like it would allow me to stamp exactly where I want them as opposed to having these gaps. Now, first thoughts on this gold, I'd already tried it out on a little leaf before filming. It is bright, it is so beautiful, it's very metallic, it's got a gorgeous reflection, shimmer, brightness to it. So I knew I'd found the most beautiful gold. So again, thanks Lorraine. A few of you did have suggestions as well, and I'm pretty sure more than one of you said the Delicata is gorgeous, and it really is. Now, first thoughts here were, I'm not sure gold on its own is going to be enough. Honestly, you can't win. Sometimes I think I'll finish this and I'll make it exactly how I want it to. It needs gold, but then I felt like it wasn't enough. The gold wasn't enough. So yes, when I read all of the comments, I'm pretty sure it was Ms. She's one of my amazing patrons as well. Ms. did say she truly felt that it could handle some black. It could actually handle some black in there as well. And it was at this point I thought, we have to go for it. you know, at this point, we've got nothing to lose. We're all here to learn together, see what works, take from the video what you will, you know, feel inspired in any little way you can. And that's what I'm here for, really, just to have fun and see what works, see what doesn't. We'll all learn together. The black brought it to life. Now, I don't want to take anything away from that gold. That gold was needed. I definitely needed to balance out the gold from the gold foil, which you would have seen that went into the epoxy resin, and also the gold from the chameleon powders from Let's Resin as well. I really wanted to balance it out. Not to mention, I did edge all of these in gold pen. But guys, look at this. I absolutely love it. I think I made the right choice. I made the right decision. The black mixed in with the gold stamping, they just complement each other so nicely. The nicest thing about this gold ink pad was that it went over the black. Now, the black ink I'm using is the Stays On black ink. It dries within a split second, like blink and it's dry. The gold, however, no. The gold did stay wet for quite a long period of time. I want to say easily 5 to 10 minutes. I was still kind of pressing it and it was still coming off on my hands. But this meant that by the time I'd actually pressed the black ink down, I went over the top with the gold. The gold went over the black so easily. I truly was worried it would be seen through the gold, or the gold would just get muddy with the black, but it didn't. It worked really, really well. This one here, I have to say, is my favorite. And as soon as I stamped this, I didn't notice until I was editing. It's a puppy face. Can anyone see the puppy face, or is it just me? We've got two big, gorgeous, dopey eyes and a nose right there at the top. I just think it's so cute. But yes, so far, this one here with the gold inlay was my favourite. So this was about an hour later. I ummed and ahed. Do I try to seal them with my acrylic sealer, as I would for Jesmonite? Just seal the eco-pore section, not the resin. Leave the resin. Or do I just resin top coat? And after so many of you did ask me if we could actually top coat eco-pore with epoxy resin, I figured I might as well just do it all in one video and just check it out and see what happens, see if it works. Now, my main concern with top coating these with epoxy resin was really these inlays. These inlays, the sections, they're just so beautiful, but they are also really, really intricate and detailed with lots of teeny crevices and nooks and crannies. And that was my biggest worry with pouring epoxy resin over the top, is that I would get air releases. So you saw me there just pour resin into the face, and then I spent some time using a cocktail stick just to, I guess, shimmy, poke and shove the epoxy resin down into all of those little crevices of the inlays, because I was worried about bubbles coming back to haunt me afterwards. So I just spent time here. I know, don't all pass out. I actually took my time on this one. I took my time going around all of the edges, because what I really did not want was any spill off. We are not doing a cascade top coat. We are trying as much as possible to take it right to the edges without it going down over the sides. Now, if your surfaces are level, mine aren't, I do my best, but they're never gonna be. If your surfaces are level, if you don't pour too much, if you pour just enough, resin should stop at the edge. Now, there's that famous saying, resin doesn't go where resin has never been. It won't go over the edge if all of your other little ducks are in a row. But I think I did a pretty good job on this top coat. Now, this is next day. My heart broke at this point. I could not believe it. I took my time. I thought I did everything right. I went in with my heat gun 3 times over the course of 10 minutes. Look at this. A huge cluster, a huge explosion of bubbles right in her crown. I mean, oh gosh, guys. honestly, this morning when I went in, I just sat there and I was like, you have got to be kidding me. My first initial thought was, it's obviously the eco pore. It's allowing air to come out, I guess, because it is quite an airy product and it hasn't been sealed at this point. I've put resin straight over the top. Now, don't get me wrong, this has happened in the past with Jesmonite, but my brain was saying, there's other areas on these that are eco pore and that hasn't happened to the other areas. It's really just stayed in this one spot around the top of her flower crown. So at this point I thought maybe I just didn't spend enough time using my cocktail stick to get that resin down into all of the nooks and crannies on her flower crown. This one here, very close to perfection. Very close. I mean, there's a tiny little fisheye right on the edge that I barely noticed, but I love it so, so much. This one to me screams autumn, fall. You know, it screams those rich, earthy tones, and I just love it. It's very romantic, very, is the word renaissance? I don't know. But yeah, I absolutely love the way it's layered. The foil, the rose petals and the foil look like they're so much deeper, which they are, I guess, than the stamped images on top. So am I happy I went for it? Am I happy I tried out the gold ink alongside the black? Yes, I love it. This one here with the puppy face at the top. An unexpected little bit of joy. But yeah, I love them. I absolutely am glad I finished them. The ink pad, stunning. Absolutely stunning. Guys, I'm envisaging this on black. Can you imagine that? Black eco pore or Jesmonite with gold stamps. Now here's the thing. I stamped over epoxy resin as well, and it worked a dream. It absolutely worked a dream. That stays on ink. I stamped that over epoxy resin. So guys, possibilities, endless, excited, gutted, absolutely gutted for that cluster of air bubbles. There's a couple of ways around this. I've already told my patrons what happened. A couple of them did suggest we could kind of try to disguise it by stamping over the top, which we could absolutely. I think the best way forward might be to just dig it out a little bit and do another top coat. Now, I am not going to do that in this video because I feel like I've spent enough time on these and it just came back and broke my heart. The devastation. But yes, I love, love, love that gold ink and the black together. They are a wow for me. The stamps are delicate and beautiful. They worked a dream. And it just elevates these pieces. I feel like there's so much more to look at now. There's so much more detail. And your eye isn't automatically drawn to that expanse of eco pore that just took over. Yeah, so much more love for these, so much more interest. They're just so different, you know, they're so different, and that is what I love about the technical kind of throw it all in, chuck it all in technique. Add your stamps on top. It could even work with temporary tattoos. You could go over the top of that with some vinyl decal or a temporary tattoo to really hide those bubbles. But I think the surface is uneven at this point, so your best bet would be get your Dremel or a drill and just drill it out. And that's the tragedy in the whole of this. I wouldn't mind, but I guess these are very, very Romanesque and tragic, you know, in their own kind of way. So yeah, maybe that's why it happened. I don't know. But yeah, a little bit sad about that, but I'm not going to let it deter me from trying this again, because honestly, all the other areas of the eco pore were fine. And there is, just at the bottom of the screen there, you might have to go back 10 seconds, there is a little tiny bubble outbreak on the eco pore on this one as well. So yeah, sealing the eco pore first before adding resin, I think, would be the way forward. And if you've already made the mistakes like I have, then drilling them out and resurfacing them, which is long. So I'm not doing it today because I'm over it. I hope you have all enjoyed this one. I love it. You know, I love everything that comes with no rules, the freedom of just doing what you want with the tools that you have at the time. To me, that's what it's all about. Anyway, I'm getting deep again, so I will see you all in the next video. Bye.